Shut up and sit down.
And now, streaming live from the sunny Southern California coast, this is Options Uncensored.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve. Welcome to Options Uncensored. We're making real option trades in real time together. Let's get right into it. First things first, make sure you have your brokerage account open so you can follow along. Set your YouTube video quality as high as possible. That way you can read the numbers a whole lot easier. Have a calculator on hand so we can do some easy math. If you have a question or stock you want to go over together live, leave it in the comment section and we'll do that together. And finally, remember, this is not financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. All right, happy Friday, everybody. We have a long 3-day weekend. We're not back till Tuesday morning now. Let's look at our open positions. We're flat to slightly down on most of our positions. We're up on AMD. And we're up on our TLT positions. TLT, we're trying to get to 19. We're up 6. Trying to get to 19 here. Mark's 31. DIA, down 27 bucks. That's fine. Roku, this was the roll from January. Roll to January. Trying to get to 34. We're at 185. We've got plenty of time for all these January expirations. I think we're, 20 some days out? 28, 29? Plenty of time. AMD, like I said, is up slightly today. Trying to get to 34. Marks at 90. SPY and IWM, same thing. Down, and XBI is down big today. But like I said, our strikes are 85.90. I think the 85 is in the money. 90 is still out of the money. So let's see what our new opportunities are before the holiday season is really underway. Next week is kind of a snoozer. We'll start with Nike, NKE. Post-earnings move, and this was a big move down. Usually the post-earnings moves aren't this volatile, so it's possible that this move of 11% down wasn't priced into the options market. We'll look at both January and February expiration. We're getting close to the point where we need to start switching over to February expiration. But for January, 105 is a little close. You'd have to sell 100 and buy 97.5. Let's take a look at February. There's no good strike. The 100 is too close and the 95 is too far out. I don't want to force anything here either. If you sold 100, bought 95, what do you get? 80 minus 34 divided by 2 divided by 500, only 4.6% there. In January, 105 is a little close. If we sold the 100 and bought the 97.5, that's 29 minus 19 divided by 2 divided by 250, only 2% there. Call side maybe. If you sold the 116 and bought the 119, 50 minus 23 divided by 2 divided by 300, nothing there, 4.5%. February. If you sold 120 and bought 125, nothing there either. 66 minus 26 divided by 2 divided by 500, 4%. So even though we had a big move in Nike, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything to do here. Let's look at Foot Locker and Dick's because they've got some ping action as well. Foot Locker's down, not for any specific reason, just because Nike's down. That's why. So Foot Locker's earnings are February. We're good. Here's our chart. See, Foot Locker has gapped down, has already rallied back a lot. We may have missed the move on this one. Let's take a look at February. There's not a lot of volume here, so the liquidity's not there, both on the calls and the puts. Let's take a look at DKS. See if we can get some. Now we got a 15-cent spread here at the 135. We went out. Hardly any volume. I need to sell the 130 and buy the 125. Same thing, 22. 10-cent spread here. It's too much. Need to have things more liquid. Same story for February. So let's move on from this one. Next up, Bristol Myers is up 3%. Takeover bid for a schizophrenia drug from Karuna. We'll look at Karuna. They're up, I think, 45% today because of that. Bristol Myers earnings are February. Okay. Put side for January. If you'd sold 49 and bought 47, it's only $200. 40 minus 19 divided by 2 divided by 200. 5.2 on the put side there. That's interesting. On the call side, if you sold 57 and bought 59, it's 27 minus 11 divided by 2 divided by 200, 4%. It's better off paying the puts or selling the put side. If we went out to February, put side, if you sold 47 and bought 44, that's 53 minus 24 divided by 2 divided by 300, 4.8% there. So selling January, put side, 49.47. Let's take a look at the chart. 49 is right here. It's close. Chart-wise, the chart doesn't look good at all. Lower low, lower low, lower low. So this could be the start of a new uptrend. Hard to say. Keeping a mark on Bristol Myers. It's interesting. Let's look at KRTX. They're the ones that they're buying. Up 47%, way up here in the stratosphere. I think it was for, what was it, three something a share. Doesn't say. Takeover bid. All right, earnings are February 22nd. Again, here's our chart. Possibly, what is it, an all-time high? Yeah, all-time high right up here. Let's look at the call side if this falls through. Nothing for January. February, you'd need to sell the 340, and it's too illiquid. Okay? So there's that. We'll keep an eye, maybe come back to Bristol Myers put side on January. Moving on. Netties down 16% today. Don't know what the news was. After China issues stricter online gaming regulations. So China issue here. Earnings are February. Looks like it's already come rallying back. Look at that. So open down and has rallied back a lot. So the move on this one may have already been made. Let's look at the put side. Okay. If you sold 75, a lot of volume here. 5-cent spread, that's not bad, but the 70's got a 15-cent spread. Call side. Let's look out to February. No, never mind. February's even worse. These are expensive. If you sold 75 and bought 70, the 70 is a little illiquid. If you want to do cash secured and sell the 75 right out, 157 minus 82 divided by 2 divided by 500, 7.5%. So there's definitely some volatility here on the put side. Where's 75 on the chart? 75 is way down here. Interesting. I'll keep this one on the list. Not going to make a move today, but we'll follow up next week Next up, Intel INTC. No news specifically today. It's been on a tear since October, from 24 to 47. It's almost 100% gain in a quarter. That's cuckoo. $68. Gonna do some quick math here, really quick. 68 minus 24. 68 minus 24. It's 44. 22. 68 minus 22. 46. So there should be a 50% retracement at 46 and change. Just right about here. So interesting. Let's look at the call side for both January and February. Earnings, really quick, are January 25th. So to have to look at January only, I don't want to be involved with Intel earnings. We've done that before. If you sold 52 and bought 54, $200 spread, 41 minus 20 divided by 2 divided by 200, 5.2%. Put side, if you sold 43.5 and bought 41.5, 31 minus 14 divided by 2 divided by 200, 4.2. Same thing. So very fairly balanced on both sides. Skip February just because of earnings, okay? Moving on, Tesla, TSLA. In the news today, I think they're building a new battery factory in Shanghai that'll be ready by the end of next year. On the positive side, what else? Reiterates outperform from RBC Capital. Maintains price target of 300. Wedbush goes to 350 from 310. Earnings are January 24th, so we'll only look at January here. Jesus. Maybe. So you've got this downward trend, but it's kind of broken out here on December 14th. So the upside could continue. So it's tough. There's no clear direction. Put side for January, you'd have to go all the way out to the 225 and buy the 220. That's 250 minus 186 divided by 2 divided by 500, 6.4% there. Call side for January. Kind of on the edge here. Sell 290, buy 295. That's 310 minus 248 divided by 2 divided by 500, 6.2. Fairly balanced. There's no skew either on the call side or the put side for the option pricing. So there you go. Moving on, Paychex, PAYX. What was the news? I forget on this one. Oh, it's maintain at underweight. RBC reiterates sector perform, so a downgrade at TD Cohen. Stifel maintains whole Stifel. Okay. Earnings just happened yesterday. That's why we've got a slew of upgrades and downgrades. Gap down yesterday, sell off. We didn't check this one yesterday. That's why, not very liquid. Some open interest, but not a lot of volatility here anymore. Skip January, skip February. Moving on. Coinbase. What was Coinbase in the news for today? Maintains outperform at JP Morgan. Maintains hold. Insiders are selling. Double on price target. Earnings are February 20th. It's up big again today, up 5%. These moves are crazy. We went from 70 to 176 since October. Let's do the math on that. 176 minus 70. 1.6 divided by 70. It's over 100% move. Unsustainable. I want to sell the call side so bad. Just the liquidity is an issue. Around 185 to 194. If you sold 220, same thing, 20-cent spread here. In order for liquidity to get better, you have to go all the way out to like the 250. If you sold 250, bought 255, what do you get? 38 minus 5 divided by 2 divided by 500, 3.3%. So by the time liquidity makes sense, you're only getting paid 3% to take that risk. It is far out. It will most likely expire worthless. February. Wait a second. Earnings are February 20th, right? I'm not sure when February expiration is. Let's keep that in mind. January, February. Actually, you get paid more to sell January. So you'd still have to sell 220 in, February. If you sold 230 and bought 240, too liquid. You'd have to go out to like, skip February. January, if you want to have a safe, easy one, sell 265, buy 270. 161 minus 139 divided by 2 divided by 500, 2.2. It's not worth it. By the time you get liquidity, you're not worth it. Moving on. Amgen, up 2% today. Earnings at the end of January. I forget the news. Here's our chart. Racing towards an all-time high. So if anything, I'd wait for it to get past 296, which it's very close to. That could happen next week for an all-time high, and then sell the call spread. Let's see what the... Don't trade February just because of earnings at the end of January. Sell 300 and buy 305. Good liquidity here. 305. It's okay liquidity. How about that? It's not great. 300. 170 minus 98 divided by 2 divided by 500. 7.2% there. And that's not including earnings. Where is 300 on the chart? Awfully close. So 300 would be a new high. We're going to keep Amgen on this list for next week. If it continues to race up higher to an all-time high, say to 300, we'll go ahead and open the short call spread. So no move on Amgen today. TLT. Let's check on the TLT. Looks like we're making money again on it today. We opened our TLT short call spread on the 20th. That was here. So on the strong day here, had 2 down days already, trying to get to 19. We're already at 9, almost halfway there. But like I said, it hit the 200 day. It's had some wonko movement when it gets to the 200 day. We've got some resistance right around, you see these right between 99 and 100. So it's hitting some resistance. It should pull back slightly. Whether it moves back a lot or a little, it'll still make our money. And then you have this descending trend line here. Okay? So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, expecting another lower high, somewhere around 100 or so. These numbers aren't specific, but that's why we opened our call spread around 100. Okay? If you're not in this one, let's see what the call side pays now, January. Same thing, open 103. Actually, you have to buy 105 now. Don't buy 106 just because the volatility is contracted ever so slightly. So that means your strikes are not as spread out. What do we got? 47 minus 24. divided by 2, divided by 200, 5.7% there. If you want to go to January. February, that move could be made. We'll check it out in a second. For February, you'd have to sell 106 and buy 109. That's 70 minus 40 divided by 2 divided by 300. That's a 5% right on the nose. You'd get 15. We're trying to get 19 for a $300 move. This one would be $15. So it's quite possible for the call side, you've already missed it. Put side, 47.21. Put side for February, sell the 92 and buy the 89. That's 47 minus 21 divided by 2 divided by 300, 4.3. So there's still call skew. On the put side for January, skip the put side for January. January and February are kind of evenly priced. There's not a lot of volatility in the entire chain, going all the way out to the end of 26. Okay, Affirm. I think the move in Affirm has already been made. Earnings, February 7th. This thing's kind of topping out, maybe. It's gone from 16 to 48. That's a hell of a move, like the rest of them. I'd skip this one. If it has another great move higher, then maybe we'll look at it. Not right now. Etsy, looking for 100. Not there yet. Let's move on. Newmont, looking for 44. Getting closer. Newmont, we're waiting to get around 44 to sell the call spread. Almost there, okay? Let's look at gold. Must be up. Yeah. Look at that. Up 1% today. Selling off slightly, but if gold makes a new high over the holiday weekend or sometime next week, looking to sell a call spread. Right now, the market is pricing for January expiration, selling the 198 and buying 200. And I know it's a small spread, but 106 minus 76 divided by 2 divided by 200. That's a 7.5% return. That's tempting, but not yet. If we can get an all-time high, I'll be right in that game. February. 200's too close. And the 205's too far out. But man, liquidity is great. Look at this 3-cent spread here, 2-cent spread here. This is exactly what we're looking for. 1 second here. We've got some heightened volatility here in gold. Look at the constellation here. Yeah, you definitely want to sell February. Just the strikes aren't where I want them to be yet. So hold on tight for this one. Okay? Let's look at FedEx following up from the past day or two. Tried to open a short put spread yesterday. It didn't get filled. If it got filled for you, congratulations. Next earnings are February 21st. Hit the 200-day yesterday perfectly. Look at the bounce off the 200-day moving average. Almost right on the nose there. Perfect. Maybe there's still time to do the put side if there's any volatility. Volatility is probably not priced in anymore, so you're not getting paid for it. You sell 232.5 and buy 227.5. Maybe you still got to move here. 127 minus 74 divided by 2 divided by 500. Only 5.3%. I don't remember what we were trying to do yesterday, but I think it was more than 5%. Boeing. Where's Boeing at? Boeing may be topping out now. What a move. Has this peak here from March 2021, so slightly lower is where it's hitting resistance. Let's look at the call side really quick. I may have missed it. For January, if you sold 280, bought 285. 200 minus 136 divided by 2 divided by 500, 6.4% for January. For February, when our earnings really quick. January 24th. So don't trade February, only do January. Where is 280 on the chart? 280 is right here. Awfully close. Can it get there? Absolutely. I don't know. I don't know on this one. Maybe. It's moved so much. $280's right here. Interesting. Maybe. Let's look at the KRE. Looking for 56 on the KRE. It's not there yet. We'll hold on this one. Let's go to our IV rank scanner and we'll sort by volume. Okay. Still some volatility in the SPY and the Russell. Let's check out SPY. Probably going to be towards the put side. January. So here are our strikes in the money. The 456, 461. This was the roll from December to January. We may have to roll again January to February. We'll see. If we can get a sell-off in January, we won't have to worry about it. But for now, let's look at if you sold on the put side the 460. That's 171 for 460 on the call side. Let's see. So there's a slight bit of put skew on this. Huh. So you're going to get paid slightly more to sell the put side. You sold the 459 and bought the 454. 160 minus 116 divided by 2 divided by 500. Only 4% though, so that's no bueno. Call side. If you sold the 490 and bought the 495, it's 152 minus 80 divided by 2 divided by 500, 7.2. So never mind. You're still getting paid more to sell the call spread. 7.2% there. 36. $490 on the chart. That would be an all-time high. Interesting. Let's check out the IWM. We sold the 197 and bought the 200. So the spread's underwater. We're only down 155 just because we got some time till expiration. If you want to open something today on the call side, for January, selling the 214 and buying the 219. It's 127 minus 67 divided by 2 divided by 500, 6% on the nose there for January. For February, call side selling 219 and buying 224. 169 minus 105 divided by 2 divided by 500, 6.4 there as well. So that's that. Marathon Digital, Coinbase, we already looked at Coinbase. Pfizer, earnings are January 30th. That's about, 5 weeks out. We'll skip it. GDX, stick with GLD. Get paid more. TLT, we already looked at. Plus, we are already in our position. Bank of America. We have Bank of America and other bank earnings coming in mid-January, so hang on tight for that. Hopefully, we get some good movement in the banks after earnings like we did with FedEx and others. Intel, we already looked at Intel. January 8th, what do we have? CES 2024. GLD, we already looked at. Affirm, we checked out. Citi has earnings on the 17th. We'll skip. Rocket Lab, I think it's a $5 stock, so I don't really want to look at it. I know they're in the news this morning because of a government contract that they got, so they're up 27% because of it. But there's not going to be anything to do there. Upstart, pass. Zim, FXI. Let's look at FXI. Moderna has the 42nd annual JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. Exciting. CFO will present. Let's look at FXI and Moderna, and then go back to Bristol Myers. Down almost 3% today. Here's our chart. Let's look at the put side. January. Skip January. February maybe. You have to sell 20. You don't get paid for it. Next, Moderna mRNA. Up 5% today. Wow. Any news? No news. Earnings are end of February, so we got plenty of time for both January and February. Here's our chart. If we can get to right around 97.5, which is where it's at, almost, could catch some resistance on the call side. Let's check it out. January, call side. You'd have to sell 115 and buy 120. You get paid for it. 132 minus 89 divided by 2 divided by 500, 4.3. It's okay. I mean, the 115 is pretty far out. It's almost a 20% move from 95. It's definitely a safe trade. You're only getting paid 4.3%. That's why. Maybe February. February expiration. Selling 120, buying 125. 216 minus 156 divided by 2 divided by 500. 6% there. 120 on the chart. That one's interesting. Earnings are February 22nd. We'll put Moderna on the list for next week. We'll go back to Bristol Myers, BMY. We're looking at the put side or the call side? I can't remember. Put side, if you sold 48.5 and bought 46.5, maybe. 38 minus 17 divided by 2 divided by 200. That's not it. Call side, maybe. We sold 56 and bought 58. 34 minus 14 divided by 2 divided by 200. It's 5% there. Maybe Moderna is the way to go. Moderna call side for January. For February. Selling 120, buying 125. Liquidity's okay. Kind of an issue. I don't want to force anything here. We got the holiday week next week, so it's going to be very quiet. Not a lot of movement. I'll just wait till early January to make a move with Moderna then. Okay? That'll do it for today. TLT's moving in our direction. Maybe that one will close today. We can get some big movement to the downside. We'll see. If not, we've got next week. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in every morning, 7:15 a.m. on the West Coast, 10:15 a.m. on the East Coast. We go live every morning trading options. Also tell your friends who are trading options to tune in as well. Thanks so much for watching. Have a happy holiday weekend. The market is closed on Monday, so we won't be back till Tuesday, and we've got a short week next week, as well as the following week for New Year's. So thank you so much for watching as we wrap up this year. I appreciate it very much. We'll see you all on Tuesday. Get some rest this weekend.